Welcome to this week's Supply Chain Update, brought to you by Phoenix International. Let's start with market conditions. On the Trans-Pacific eastbound lanes, shipping volumes are climbing as the temporary U.S.-China tariff deal and peak season buildup drive stronger demand. Spot rates are on the rise with peak season surcharges already in effect. In the Far East westbound market, demand is stabilizing as European retailers restock, although some volumes are being redirected to the U.S. due to tariff-driven shifts in factory output. Meanwhile, the transatlantic westbound lane is showing steady utilization, but rate support remains soft. Most carriers have delayed PS implementation across Europe as they await clearer signals on demand. Now, let's take a look at operational updates. Equipment remains generally available on the Trans-Pacific, with no major shortages reported. In Southeast Asia, some transshipment ports continue to experience delays due to earlier blank sailings, impacting vessel schedules into week 21. Across the transatlantic, congestion continues at several Mediterranean and North European ports. Equipment shortages persist inland, especially in Central Europe and parts of Turkey and Portugal. Turning to capacity management, carriers are beginning to reintroduce capacity on the Trans-Pacific. While space remains tight, week 21 and week 22 show gradual improvement. On the Far East westbound, full capacity deployment has resumed, although Southeast Asia transshipment routes still face a 30% reduction this week. Transatlantic carriers are maintaining current capacity levels, opting to monitor demand trends before making any adjustment. The U.S. continues to enforce a 10% universal tariff on most imports. Higher tariffs of up to 50% have been announced for about 60 countries, though these are currently paused for negotiation. A 90-day tariff reduction agreement is in place between the U.S. and China, with both sides easing previous rate hikes. Steel, aluminum, and auto-related tariffs remain in full effect. Large U.S. truckload carriers have continued to trim their fleets to align with softening demand, pushing the truckload capacity index lower in queuing. However, data also shows a slow rebound in active fleets, suggesting some operators are re-entering the market. The pace of fleet reduction is easing, pointing to cautious adjustments by carriers. Ocean carriers on the Trans-Pacific are preparing major rate increases set for June 1. This follows a temporary easing of U.S. tariffs on Chinese goods, which is expected to push volumes higher. General rate increases and PES are being combined to drive pricing upward, potentially offsetting tariff-related cost savings for importers. In the Asia-North Europe corridor, carriers plan to implement rate increases in early June despite significant overcapacity. Spot rates on this trade have dropped over 60 since January. Carriers are aiming for a $3,000 per fuel hike, but with weak demand and high supply, achieving those levels may prove difficult. And that concludes our update on the global supply chain. Thank you for joining us. We will continue to monitor these developments and keep you informed. You can follow us on LinkedIn and YouTube for more supply chain related updates.